This is the new era. This is the new band, and we're unbreakable.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make him better than he was. Better, stronger, faster. Actually, better, stronger,
faster. Is that a
faster.
line from Starship Troopers or something?
No, it's actually the $1 Million Man.
$6 Million Man. I know that, and
I don't even know what that is.
We Brits don't do excitement, so this is the best you're gonna get.
Chris is bringing the noise today, apparently.
Speaking of vanilla,
it's just I don't understand why.
I don't think anyone does. I don't think Travis Green understands.
Talking you through every goalie controversy, scoring slump, and draft lottery bust. This is the C4 Podcast on CanucksHockeyBlog.com and CKNW.com. Here they are, the best starting lineup to never wear a C, Chris, Anna, Matt, and Adam.
Welcome to another episode of the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, as heard on Overtime Media. I am Chris at Lightforce, back in the saddle, but virtually on Easter Monday, with Adam O'Neill Carter at Adam FOC and Anna Forsyth at A4Forsyth03. Missing in action is Matt Lee at Matt Lee _61. He's off scouting in the hockey hotbed of Japan.
Yeah, you know what? Untapped potential in Japan, I feel like.
Yeah.
I suspect there is. I mean, I swear I was watching something just this year about how there are Canadians that are really starting to, invigorate that Japanese hockey culture.
Well, do you remember Yutaka Fukufuji? The I think first and,
was that the goaltender?
Yeah, first and only Japanese born player to play in the NHL, I believe.
Yeah. Well, good pull.
Thank you. I'll try my best.
Well, that's why we bring you out. But as far as our episodes go, what's also different about this episode is the fact we don't have a rundown. Like, this is the most ad hoc podcast episode you're going to have heard from us since Matt joined the show. Because as everyone knows, Matt he has this rigor around a rundown, all the timing set up. If we go off the rails, he gets cranky as F. We're going to talk about everything. We should talk about Game of Thrones, video gaming, the weather. What else might piss him off?
It's funny. We joke about Chris being the dad, but if Chris is the dad, Matt is the stepdad who tries to be way too strict coming in.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, I'm good times dad. I would much rather just, shoot the proverbial and have a good time. But, Mr. Taskmaster, speaking of taskmastering, not that this actually even is a segue. Listening to the last episode, I understand that a certain someone, not on this podcast, dropped $6,000 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Do you think that person's happy today?
Yeah, that's a rough day for that guy.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that the NHL playoffs have been kind of screwy. We're going to cover, playoff action. Not a whole lot going on in the world of Vancouver Canucks, so we won't be talking about Canuckland, unless there's something that one of you really wants to hit on. And we could talk a little bit about the World Hockey Championship, I guess.
I honestly couldn't tell you a single thing about the World Hockey Championship.
No, I'm sorry, I couldn't either.
By all means, Chris, you can lead it, and we can add on. But has it started yet? I don't know.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't started
yet.
There you go. But yeah, again, this is uncharted territory for us. So for those of you tuning in to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, maybe those of you tuned in sometime this year or maybe late last year, we normally take the Canucks off season off. Literally, we don't show up. We come back in August, September, sometime, maybe around July for agency. But this off season, we're going to be recording on a regular basis. Now, that said, we're recording this week. We'll be recording next week. And then as of May, it'll be every 2 weeks until the start of the regular season. But that's uncharted territory for us. We're going to have to just make things up. It's going to drive Matt nuts. Seriously, this summer.
Yeah.
Well, I think our regular episodes will become off the rail episodes pretty quickly here. So
that's true. And for those of you who are patrons who are well, wait a minute, you recorded an episode. Why can't I tune into the live pod? Well, we're doing it virtually, and we have yet to figure out how to record virtually where the three of us can hear each other and that our patrons can hear each other. Or not hear each other, hear us, but that there's not 6 versions of us. We get that stupid echo.
Also, it's a holiday. I'm at my grandma's. Give us a break here.
Yeah, I literally got in from the Okanagan about 10 minutes ago. So, yeah,
Was I the only guy working today?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. But yeah, that's right, Adam. You're over at Grandma's. Is she going to join the pod? Get her on.
No, Bubba doesn't know anything about hockey.
Well, I have
And then,
a friend of the show, Mama Forsyth, is in the house.
Yes.
oh, geez, maybe we get Mama Forsyth on the podcast. Give us her thoughts on the Canucks going into the off season, huh?
Yeah, I don't think she'll like that.
Well, you know what? Why don't we jump into I don't know what segment next, but you're going to hear us take a short break, and then there'll be some drop music. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the fact that the Tampa Bay Lightning 1 week ago had simply lost a game. And it wasn't like they lost the game and it's like, oh my God, the bottom has fallen out of the bus. It was like they lost a game. They didn't lose it well because it was a come from behind win. Would you have imagined a world where they get swept?
I actually texted a friend about that today just because I was curious about where everyone actually finished in the standings when I was looking at scores and series today. And, I knew they had 128 points, but that's still 21 more points than the second closest team. Like they we talk about how historic their season was, but it's just still so hard to comprehend how damn good of a season it was. And to lose the first round as a President's Trophy all-time team is one thing, but to get swept, did they lose 4 games in a row all season? I highly, highly doubt it. I almost think like it's not getting enough play of how big a deal it is, you know?
Yeah, the thing is, when I was filling out my bracket, I was looking at Tampa, and I thought, well, Tampa are going to get through, but they're not going to sweep the Jackets because people don't really do that. And as dominant as they have been, they'll probably lose a game, but they'll get through. But the fact that they got swept, from a team that's literally just piled all of its eggs into this one basket.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not the first to say this, but I do like that Columbus made the playoffs and won because I think they took a hell of a chance, obviously, with the Duchesne and Zingle trades and everything and not selling their assets. And it's nice to see them get rewarded for it because that makes you think other teams will take that chance in the future. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to see for any casual fan.
I'm kind of in two minds because, one, you just think it was so reckless that it's almost just like worrying they got rewarded, and it is torts, but at the same time, it was fun to see a favorite get turned over.
Yeah.
And, something to consider about that series, though, as well. Tampa didn't just lose, they lost. Bad. Game 2, 5-1 Columbus. Game 3, 3-1 Columbus. And Game 4, right off, 7-3. They had no answer for this Blue Jackets team, which has won their very first playoff series ever.
Yeah,
and did so in dominating fashion.
It's a huge upset, and I think you make a good point, Chris. Like they were outplayed the entire. Other than once Columbus came back from 3-0 down in Game 1, the series was essentially over. Like Tampa stopped playing after that, other than a little bit in Game 4. But it was truly a shocking upset. One I can't ever remember seeing something that similar.
Yeah. And like you compare the two regular seasons, sort of like what you did there, Adam. Goals per game, Lightning were first in the league, Blue Jackets were 12th. In power play percentage, Lightning first in the league, Blue Jackets 28th. The only thing that the Blue Jackets were actually close to the Lightning was the penalty kill. They were 1-2, Lightning 1, Blue Jackets 2. So, okay, you could arguably say that maybe the Lightning's power play percentage drops because they're into the second best penalty kill in the league, but everything else is a good stretch. Like I am just blown away. And maybe it has to do with the fact that, Columbus got the right pieces at the deadline. Maybe it has to do with the Tortorella effect and somehow he's a coach who's turned over a new leaf. But how many brackets now have been broken? Like I would imagine the only people that picked Columbus to come out of that series were Columbus fans. And even then, there's probably Columbus fans who's got their bracket broken because they didn't give their team a chance.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I think it was last year in March Madness when a 16 seed finally beat an up seed. Like it's one of those things where you just always pencil in the 1 seed to win because it just never happens, right? This was one of those things where Tampa was so good, so dominant the whole season. that it just, everyone just kind of swept it under the rug. Yeah, Tampa's going to move on, and that's that. And then you did it, you put thought into everything else.
Mm-hmm. Now, the playoff matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is currently tied 3-3. And I think for, all three of us, correct me if I'm wrong, we're happy that this series is going the distance, not so much because we're happy for either one of the teams, but we want whichever team gets through to be somehow destroyed in the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We say somehow destroyed. Do you have faith that the Blue Jackets could beat either one of these teams?
Is that how it plays out? No matter which team wins, it's the Blue Jackets playing them?
I believe so. I don't think the NHL reseeds.
No, it doesn't, which is weird. But, did we have faith that Columbus would beat Tampa? No.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are. So who Matt and I talked about this last week, but who are you guys cheering for in that series?
I think I hate Boston more than I hate Toronto, but the effect of Toronto getting further in the playoffs would be worse.
See, that's how I feel. Like, I prefer that Boston not win. But considering how Toronto media has already amped up the Maple Leafs, I have said this in Discord, I want the Bruins to win in 7 and promptly get swept. The difficulty is looking at Columbus. Like, I can't see lightning striking twice. No pun intended.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I'm on record as saying I want the Bruins to win this, and it's not all too close for me, to be honest with you guys. But I think it's been the most entertaining series of them all so far.
Fair enough. I don't deny that. I do find it interesting that you have Brad Marchand chirping his building maintenance crew about the quality of the Boston ice.
Yeah, you don't see that every day, which makes me feel a little bit better about Canucks or Rogers Arena ice. But yeah, it's weird to see him chirping his own ice.
Mm-hmm. As far as the other side of the Eastern bracket, Caps and Hurricanes tied 3-3. I will admit I got a soft spot for the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I prefer the Caps maybe go through, but I have a soft spot for the Hurricanes.
They're one of the teams that it's like the Dallas Nashville series. I just don't care about either of those teams. I don't care about the Hurricanes. Nothing about them excites me. I had fun with their little post game things during the season, but at this point, the Capitals are just so much more entertaining on and off the ice. I'm going for the Caps in this one.
Well, and I guess that's actually a fair point. Like, the reason I have a soft spot for the Hurricanes has to do with how their approach to their post-game antics were. Like, when Don Cherry comes out and calls them a bunch of jerks, they're like, let's run with that.
Yeah, I did appreciate that for sure.
That to me, spoke volume. That's sort of why I had the soft spot. But yeah, if I have to choose, I want the Capitals to go through. Better hockey. Pittsburgh swept 4-0. Like, I saw this as a toss-up. I chose the Penguins based on, I guess, historical record.
Yeah.
But I did not see this being such a one-sided series. I mean, you got the Islanders sweeping the Pens 4-buzz. I mean, games outside of the first one were close, but New York won by at least 2 in 3 of the 4 games. So, a surprise here, or is this just a matter of, you look at the Islanders as being the better team, just a surprise that it's a sweep?
Anna?
Yeah, I picked the Pens again, but I didn't think it would be anywhere near as dominant as the Tampa series. But, Pens is still good, and they're still having huge regular seasons. Crosby is and Gino, but I don't know if they've improved since massively since they won the cups. They did.
Well, I don't know who wrote it. I wish I could give them credit, but some might have been in The Athletic. They put out, or some Pittsburgh newspaper wrote an article about how since I think it was in between their 2 back-to-back cups, the Penguins have tried to get bigger and stronger, even if it means sacrificing skill, and they've been vocal about it. And that, they got Jack Johnson and they got Erica Branson, and it's really hurt the team. I think you kind of just see Crosby, Malkin, you pencil them in as going forward just because they're so good, but they've regressed a lot in the past couple of years. And the Islanders, I think, aren't given enough credit. Like I was talking about with a colleague, there's nobody on that team to really get excited for other than Matt Barzal, and on paper at least, but they played a fun brand of hockey.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching that series. I think probably the most in terms of just straight hockey.
Yeah, I wish it went a little more.
Yeah.
The other component that I feel maybe is overlooked was Pittsburgh earlier in the season really wasn't doing too well. They obviously played better as the season progressed, but I think that has more to do with the division that they play in as opposed to anything else. And even though it was a 2-3 matchup, and yes, the teams themselves were relatively balanced, both between the Penguins and Islanders. Like Penguins had better goals per game, power play percentage, face-off percentage. Islanders were much better goals against, penalty kill, and point percentage. It felt to me that the Islanders, for some reason or another, had something to prove. So it was more like a 1-4 in my mind as opposed to 2-3.
Yeah, and what a story Robin Lehner is. Just
Vezina candidate.
Yeah, like where he was a year ago and where he is now. It's just a really nice story of resurgence.
Well, speaking of Vezina candidate and someone who did not get a nomination for the Vezina Trophy, we're going to jump over to the West. St. Louis eliminated the Winnipeg Jets.
A lot of teams did that.
Wow.
Well, St. Louis eliminated the Winnipeg Jets 4-2. Binnington, I think, was, in my mind, the difference. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Don't say that. I'm sick of that guy.
Okay, but it's not his fault that people talked about him over Pedersen.
Yeah. He was drafted 6 years before Pedersen, so let's just remember that. But he did play well. The Jets, I think, kind of shot themselves in their own foot. They just couldn't do anything consistently. Maybe you give the Blues credit there. I didn't watch too much of this series, to be honest with you. I'm a little surprised to see the Jets out so early, but here we are.
Yeah, they're quite ill-disciplined, I thought, as a team. Yeah, so.
Well, I mean, the Jets themselves, they underperformed, right?
Yeah,
for sure. And we're going to talk about another underperforming team in a moment, but the reason I bring up Binnington being the difference is that maybe I'm overstating his importance so much that the Jets offense dried up. Like in the first 2 games, Blues, second 2 games, it's like Winnipeg woke up and then said, now that we tied the series, we've got this.
Right.
And then they took their foot off the gas and, St. Louis took advantage of that. But when you have a goaltender who is playing well, like Binnington has been, you can't afford to do that. Unfortunately for Winnipeg, that's all she wrote. They're done. Briefly, though, Binnington did not get a nod for the Vezina. Is that because he only played a partial season? Or is that because he will be nominated for a different trophy? And if so, how is that person able to win that particular trophy if they're not the top in their position?
You can win the Calder without winning.
Okay.
Without being the best forward.
Sure, but when you look at a goaltender winning the Calder, that goaltender has to be, miles above every other defender and forward in the league. And if the goaltender's that good, he would have at least needed to have gotten a nomination of the Vezina in my mind. Like this, the NHL has good goaltenders, but if Binnington isn't top 3, I don't see him as standing a chance against a Pedersen. I don't.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's going to win it. I think it's silly that it's even really part, that it's a conversation. I just don't think 36 games is enough to be eligible for an end-of-season trophy, but maybe that's just my bias for you.
No, I think you're right, and I think that's consciously or unconsciously played into the fact that he wasn't nominated for the Vezina. So I think that should kind of disqualify him from winning the Calder also.
Fair enough. Well, sticking in the West and underperforming teams, you've got the Calgary Flames losing 4-1 to the Colorado Avalanche. Here's another series where a goaltender made a significant difference. Outside of the fact that Johnny Gaudreau, he's great at regular season hockey, but not so much the postseason play. This is the first time, I think, ever that the NHL has seen both top seeds from West and East eliminated in the first round.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising. Calgary was dominated in that series, though. Like Mike Smith was Calgary's best player, and I feel like when that's the case, that's not a good sign for your team. He was the best player for the team, and he kept them in it. But Colorado is just so fast, so fun. I'm happy to see the Avalanche move on if they're going to be playing like that.
Now that they're not going to win the first overall.
And with the added bonus,
exactly.
Calgary goes out, which is just fun.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the series itself. Calgary loses 2 games, or big. The last game 5, 5-1. They lost game 3, 6-2. They won game 1, 4-0, but then lost 3-2 in overtime twice. Like, it's not as if they were ever out of the series. They just didn't get maybe the bounce they needed. And as you had said, Adam, a Colorado team that brought speed, brought finesse, and leaned on their own, stellar goaltending.
Yeah.
So if you're the Calgary Flames, do you look at this as simply don't mind that, we know next season we've got ourselves geared up? Or is this an Edmonton Oilers one and done flame out?
No, I think this team is very good and young and deep. I think they'll be back, and I think they'll be good for a while to come. I think to make any big rash decisions based on this one series would be kind of foolish. Like, Tampa is not going to blow their team up because they got swept after a historic season, right? Like, I think their time will come to go deep. It's just not this year.
The other 2 series in the West that are still ongoing, we've got the Predators and the Stars, which is currently in progress with Dallas up 3-2.
1-1 in the third period right now in Game 6.
And then we have the Sharks and Golden Knights tied 3-3. And I will admit, I presume the Golden Knights were going to win it last night. I thought they would.
Yeah, this is another really fun series. I think it's classic Western Conference hockey. If you have big boys and lots of hits, lots of goals.
A little bad blood.
Yeah, definitely. Surprising for a new team in Vegas, but I'm a big fan. And you know what? I thought they would have done it earlier than now. I'm glad it's going to 7. It's been probably my second favorite series of the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I think with Vegas's run last year all the way to the finals, they made some enemies and they've kind of created this big personality. And I like that they've done that because, some people hate them now, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
They're not a boring team in on or off the ice whatsoever. So I really enjoy that. And I've kind of always had a little bit of a soft spot for the Sharks, I think, just because I like the color teal. But yeah, that's been a fun series to watch. But I definitely thought Vegas would have won it by now. So
yeah. Well, and watching that game last night, and the fact that the Golden Knights get a power play in double overtime, that was the moment. I'm like, they're gonna eliminate the Sharks, and not only for that not to occur, but the Sharks to actually score the winning goal shorthanded.
Crazy.
Definitely by surprise. Good series to be following, and as sort of you guys had alluded to, this could be it for Jumbo Joe. This might be his, one last kick at the can, and maybe he needs to.
He's looking old. He's looking like it's about time to hang him up. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Now, as far as second round matchups, we already see the Blues going to face the winner of the Predators and the Stars. Which of those teams matches up better against the Blues?
Probably the Predators, just because I think they have a deeper defense. Mm-hmm. But just the old Central Division, I feel like there's not a whole lot of excitement in that division.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to care about this Nashville-Dallas series, so it's not been too exciting.
Does that mean Colorado will play the winner of the Vegas-San Jose series?
You got it.
That'll be a fun series. I'll watch the hell
definitely.
out of that one. Yeah.
Well, you look at the storyline. So if San Jose gets through, you've got a team that's a little bit longer in tooth, but knowing that the window itself has closed considerably. Vegas goes through, it's still the whole Cinderella story without Cinderella actually being Cinderella anymore. Or as Anna had alluded to, a team that has maybe less love from other teams in the league, and maybe they're more like the Wicked Stepsister.
Yeah.
But Avs do look good. Anywho, enough chatter about the playoffs. What we'll do here is we'll take a quick break before we jump into some other segment that I have absolutely no idea that I'm going to use until such time as I put in the drop.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? And that because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He's going to get a lot of power play time. And, yeah, I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
Okay. I have no idea what drop I just played, but what I thought we could do is actually just, shoot the proverbial as to what the heck we're going to get up to as the playoffs themselves start to dwindle down. Like, we've been kind of fortunate. There's been multiple games, but as is apt to occur, we'll see less and less playoff hockey, plus the actual games themselves start to become earlier and earlier for us. Like, even when there's West Coast teams, we start to see those, even two West Coast teams playing 4:00 start.
Or in the finals, they're always at 5.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a Central Division team, that'll be even earlier,
So, off the rails here, because Matt's not here to tell me otherwise. What do you plan on doing with all this extra time you're going to have now?
Anna, you want to go first?
I don't know. Pick up a hobby, maybe?
Wow.
Like what?
Yeah.
I picked up a hobby, actually, but I'll let you continue.
Well, first of all, before we kind of on our 2 shows every 2 weeks, we got my birthday show next week. I hope you guys have remembered that.
I have to talk to you about that, Anna.
If you are going to tell me that you're not coming to my birthday show, Adam.
Well, I'll tell you why when we get to me, but keep going.
So that's my main interest. I don't see much beyond my birthday, so that's my main concentration. But yeah, we'll have the draft to look forward to, so that's exciting. A summer of cricket for me.
So you got nothing going on between the end of April and the end of June?
I'll be watching a lot of cricket. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay.
Which for me is exciting. I realize it's not exciting for everyone else.
Who else is it in Discord that likes cricket? Isn't there someone?
Probably Trev Goldie, I would guess. He's Australian.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. I think it might be Trev, because I remember that every so often I'll see conversations that sort of pipe up, and it's like, oh, cricket, sure. Some guys running back and forth between sticks with a ball that no one wears gloves for. I don't know. It's a crazy sports, like the Aussie rules version of baseball.
Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Adam, tell us your exciting plans. You're dying to, clearly.
All right. Well, there's a few. I've recently taken up gardening, which I'm enjoying greately. Our upstairs neighbors moved out, and so they left the garden for us to deal with. So I recently built a birdhouse for this woodpecker that's been around. I've installed a house for mason bees, which are solitary bees that are good for pollinating. Yep. I've planted some wildflowers, and hopefully the bees will like those. And then I'll get the herbs going after that. So it's been fun. That will be my hobby when the sun comes out more. Next week. So is your birthday show next Monday, Anna? Is that the idea?
Yeah, because that is
okay. Well, I'll be there. I'll be there for that. Oh, okay. Well, I won't be there for your birthday party because I will be in the States over the weekend.
Oh, well, I'll allow that.
Going to some, gardening, exhibition?
No, our school sport is Ultimate Frisbee, and the biggest Ultimate Frisbee tournament in the world for students is in just outside of Seattle this weekend. So I will be coaching my students there.
You're going to bring back a championship?
Probably not. I'm sorry to my students who may be listening to this. But
he just called you terrible guys, if you are.
But, that's okay. We'll try our best. It's all about the spirit of the game in Ultimate.
So does that mean you're a bad coach?
No, I'm a great coach.
Okay, sure.
A good coach always blames his players, right?
Yeah.
Right. That seems to be the way. Yes. Speaking of actually students tuning in, so I actually am curious about this. You had mentioned that 2 of your students tuned in the podcast and at least one of them fell asleep listening to it. Now, did they fall asleep listening to it?
Like a nice way, like they put it on for bed.
Okay. Because
not because
I was curious if it was because it was boring. I was curious if it had to do with my voice. So some context here. Nexus listens to both the C4 Canucks Hockey podcast, but also my Overwatch podcast. And he had shared a story how he put it on in his truck on a road trip. With the wife in the vehicle, and it put her to sleep. Apparently, the sweet dulcet tones of my voice and video games can put people to sleep.
That might be it.
I was just curious.
I'm surprised my voice is soothing enough for anyone to fall asleep to, honestly. But okay.
Anywho,
yeah, Chris, you got a great radio voice or like a podcast voice. But the same can't be said for the rest of us.
No. So I get feedback about my voice all the time. Like at work, people will comment, "Oh yeah, that video that Chris recorded, really like his voice." At one of the Vancouver Titans meetups, someone comes by, "Hey man, you should start going to radio or start a podcast. You got a voice for it." The voice I hear internally does not sound at all good.
I know. It's funny. I get compliments on my accent all the time, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah, if you heard other British accents, you wouldn't find mine so appealing, but
I like the voice I hear in my head, but I hate the one I hear when I listen back,
Yeah, and that part I get too. Like the reverse, it's because it is different. The one you hear and the one that you hear recorded are often different. It's just like what I hear and what I hear recorded are just like completely opposite. Like I find I sound nasally and high pitched, and like why people are like, "Oh, you got a nice low voice." Well, no.
You do. You got a nice baritone.
But if you think about like all the voices out there in sports radio, like think about how Jason Botchford sounds. And he probably works well because he's with Jeff Patterson, for example. But yeah, just he is very loud and it's not exactly soothing, but I think it takes different strokes.
Fair enough. As for me and my summer plans, because I have all this free time, is that I don't have free time. You see, this whole Overwatch podcast has really taken off. I'm actually looking forward to not having to record weekly for the Canucks podcast, because the weekly recording of the Vancouver Titans podcast has added some additional strain into a life where I have a 2-year-old now. It was her birthday this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And
happy birthday, Aaron.
I will pass that on to her. And yeah,
Does Matt remember her name?
Probably not. We'll have to quiz him when he comes back. He'll start spitting out names. Like, how often, like he could use Baby Force, which he actually does, but he, beyond that, no clue. A related piece to the Vancouver Titans podcast, though, is the fact that Francesco Aquilini has been sharing his, happy thoughts about the fact that the Titans have been like dominant. And I kid you not, every time he goes and tweets, "Oh yeah, the Vancouver Titans are doing hot," someone replies, "Fire Benny." Anywho.
I mean, fair enough.
Well, it is interesting that, well, one, I mean, for those who don't know Overwatch, that the Vancouver Titans themselves are doing as well as they have been. It would be akin to the Vegas Golden Knights having an undefeated hockey season, but not where they've picked players from the NHL, that they simply went and promoted it like an AHL team to the league. Like that would be really what we're seeing with the Vancouver Titans. They are a team that was playing in what would be essentially a lower division. And now suddenly they're top of the table in the big leagues.
So how often did do they play? Is that even the right word?
Yeah, so the Overwatch League itself it's only 2 seasons old. So the first season, second season, there's quite a few changes because there are more teams this year. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for the most part, there are 3 to 4 matches each of those days, and they then in turn may play once or twice within a week. And then occasionally a bye week. So like this weekend, they're doing what they call the homestand series. So they're not actually playing in LA where all the games normally happen. They're going to be in Dallas or just outside of Dallas. And there's only a handful of teams playing this weekend. The rest get the weekend off. But to put into perspective, this stadium they're playing in just outside of Dallas, 8,100 seats, the building sold out like 2 days after tickets went on sale. That's for like all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
Crazy. I'm surprised Overwatch is still as big as it is. Thought it would have faded a little bit.
Well, depending on who you talk to, there are a lot of people that will call it a dead game, but I think there's still quite a bit of money behind it, being that the Activision Blizzard, the company that developed the game, is wealthy. And then in turn, they had such high numbers that their Overwatch League itself is able to sustain the game. Anywho, I know Matt's probably like going bald right now.
His head is exploding.
Right. But yeah, if you haven't tuned into the Ready Set Pwn podcast, you really should. Only to listen to my voice, because that's what people do. But that's going to be my summer. Like beyond the fact that I'm obviously going to continue to tune in and try to piss Matt off every 2 weeks.
Yeah, great. That's my favorite pastime.
Anywho, I don't know. The only other thing I was going to mention, because I did say World Hockey, was that we were talking in Discord today that apparently Little Things Eriksson is getting recognized for doing the little things back in Sweden.
I did see that. Oh, man. Can't wait till he's out of here.
Serious question. He's finishing his contract, agreed?
Yeah. One way or another.
Like
one place.
Well, yeah, he could be. He could be traded, but arguably, who's going to take that contract on? Right?
Yeah.
Unless there's like an expansion, requirement where they need a contract to be available and the team's short on it and some crazy deal. Right. But yeah, no, Little Thing's going to be a Canuck. So I apologize to all of you that might piss off. Anywho, as we wrap up this shortened episode of Freeform Podcasting, what final words of wisdom do you wish to share to our thousands and thousands of listeners there, Anna?
I'm just excited for what round 2 brings us. I know that's a bit premature, but yeah, round 1 of the playoffs have been genuinely exciting. So I'm excited for more surprises in round 2.
Adam?
Not really hockey related, but it's just a great time for sports with basketball playoffs on now.
Dead to me.
Raptors are doing well. Why? What?
Basketball? It's dead to me.
Oh, I thought you meant
no. You're fine. No. It's basketball that's dead to me. Sorry.
That's fine. I get it. Anyway, Raptors are looking good. I cheer for the Milwaukee Bucks half-heartedly, so they're doing well. That's fun.
Can you really do anything else for a team in Milwaukee?
Well, that's why it's like, they're a perennial underdog, but not so much anymore. Anyway, fun time in sports. That's all. I don't know. Let's talk about basketball on Discord.
Yeah, or the end of the football season. It's very exciting.
Or the NFL draft. That's coming up too.
Oh, snooze.
You bring up a good point, Adam. You should talk about basketball or football or cricket in Discord. Join a Discord. If you're not already there, talk about everything and anything. I had commented about this last year during the playoffs, was that was the first year that I can remember where the Canucks weren't in the playoffs that I still continued to pay attention to hockey. Like I am a biased Vancouver sports fan. If Vancouver's not involved, I often could care less. And now with us obviously podcasting, I kind of have to, but it's less arduous of a task for me to do when there's great people in Discord talking about hockey, whether it be our patrons, our regular supporters, the thousands and thousands of listeners, what have you. So to join our Discord, it is a bit.ly link pinned on our Twitter account, which is at the C4 Podcast, but it's bit.ly/C4 Discord or C4 Podcast. All of those being all caps, that'll get you in. As far as final thoughts for me, I'm just going to have fun this summer. We are off on a cruise to kick off the summer, even though it's in May, and we're going up to Alaska where it'll still be cold, but that'll be fun times.
Ooh.
And we structured the podcast so that you don't lose out on your Chris action, because while I'm away, that'll be the one episode that we wouldn't be recording normally. It's Chris.
Smart.
The world. But on behalf of the Missing in Action, scouting for NHL players in Japan, Matt Lee at @MattLee_61, Anna Forsyth at @Forsyth03, and Adam Omnalcarter at AdamFOC. I am Chris at Lightforce. On behalf of the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, is heard on Overtime Media, as well as CanucksHockeyBlog.com. You can find us every which way to Sunday. Just search for the C4 Podcast. But guess what? We're out.